Do you look around in the United States and see class divide? Do you feel there is a class of elites who are corrupt and running this country into the ground? If you do, you may be a populist. Many people may have heard the term, but you don't exactly know what it is. Well, a populist, in simple terms, is someone who views politics as the ordinary citizens versus the corrupt elites. This allows a populist to be on either the left wing or the right wing of the political spectrum. For example, Bernie Sanders, a self-proclaimed democratic socialist, is a populist, as is Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a conservative Republican from the South. Both Sanders and Greene say they have the same goal of fighting for the common person against the elite class in the United States. They just have very different methods of achieving that vision. So no matter where you fall on the political spectrum, if you believe there is an elitist class in the United States who receives special treatment and has too much influence in our political system, you are a populist. And I would argue that in the 21st century, the majority of Americans would identify as populists. Look at the politicians that gain a cult-like following, such as Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump or Zohran Mamdani. All of these politicians incorporate populist messaging in their campaigns, and usually they pit their supporters, the ordinary people, against what they will perceive as the elite class. And while it could be debated upon as to whether all the names I listed truly are populists in practice, it cannot be debated that they got elected off acting and campaigning like a populist. And like I stated, they all have this cult-like following from their supporters. These are politicians that people in this nation would fight and die for, because they believe they are the only ones who are fighting for the ordinary person against the elite. Think about how rare it is for large numbers of people to unite around a politician like that. But it happens with all of those figures. And notice how they generally perform well in their campaigns. Sanders has been in Congress in some capacity since 1990. Mamdani won the New York City mayoral election in a landslide, and Trump has been elected to two non-consecutive presidential terms. That is because people truly believe in their messaging, and people are desperate for a chance at survival in this modern economy that is uncertain, and they know that only a politician with populist leanings who is willing to challenge the establishment can give them a fighting chance in this modern day. And like I said, it can be debated upon whether the names I listed truly deliver as a populist, but the point I'm trying to get at is the United States population desires populist leaders. So after hearing about this, if you're unsure of where you stand politically, ask yourself, are you a populist? If you are, consider that when you have a choice in your party's primary elections. Because in this modern day, a lot of people are very much fed up with the establishment in both political parties. They're done with the mainstream candidates. The conservatives want to move past the neoconservatives, and the liberals want to move past the mainstream liberals. So if these people would vote for populist candidates who can tip the scales in the favor of the common person, it is important that they truly do that. And on a second note, it is very possible for a person to cross party lines to vote for populists. And to prove this, I present the evidence of the work that Representative Ro Khanna of California and Representative Thomas Massie of Kentucky have done this year in 2025. Khanna is a Democrat and Massie is a Libertarian Republican, but both will cast aside their party differences to support legislation that helps the common person and damages the power of the elite class. The most high-profile example of this is the pair's fight to force a vote on the release of the Epstein files. And it's also known that both Massie and Khanna are opposed to corporate lobbying, a position that populists are generally going to take. So to close out this video, I want to say this. The American people are more united than you probably think, and what they are united in is their disdain for the establishment and their desire for a leader that fights for them. The populists is ready to reject the establishment of both political parties. They are gone with the neoconservatives. They're gone with the establishment liberals. They want populists who will truly reform the system and bring opportunity to everyone in the United States. The populist faction, it's growing on both wings of both political parties. But the first step is to get people to recognize that they are a populist. And that's what I intended for when I made this video. Now, if you enjoyed this video and found it informative, thank you and stay tuned for more.